Hello and welcome back. So now we can display the to-do listings in our home page, right? So if I go to the home page, I can display the to-dos that we have in the database. In this lesson, we'll add the ability to add new listings from the user interface, which is the browser. Right now, we can only add them through the Rails console, but we want to add them from the browser itself, okay? So first thing I want to do is over here in the terminal, type in rake routes. Okay, you see we already have a path here that is the new listing path, okay? And it goes to listings/new. This would be the browser URL. And it goes to the listings controller new action, okay? And we got this path when we basically added resources listings that gave us this path. One thing I would like to let you know at this point is the new listings path. When you add a new listing, it gets submitted to the create listings path. Okay, so this is a GET request and it submits to the listings create action, and that's how it gets saved to the database, which is a post request. Okay, we won't go into too much detail about that right now, but we know that we have this new listings path, so let's go ahead and add this to our index. Okay, so over here we want to create a link. So let's go ahead and do link _2 within quotes, create a new listing, or actually create a new to-do, and then we want it to go to this path over here, new listing. So new listing path. Okay, let's see what that did to our interface. There you go, we have a new path. So if I click here, if you look at the bottom, it goes to listings/new, which is exactly the route we were expecting, which is right here, listings/new. We don't have a new action in our listings controller yet, but let's see what happens if we click on it right now. Okay, the action new could not be found in the listings controller. So let's go ahead and add that. So in our listings controller, define new end. Okay. Let's see what that did. All right, missing template for new. So now it's going to be your introduction in this app to Rails forms. If you created the blog app for one of the homework assignments using the Rails guides, then you already got introduced to forms. So we're going to follow the same pattern here. So let me go to the views listings over here, since it's a new listing. So following convention, I'll right click new file. It's going to be new.html.erb. Okay. All right. Okay, so first thing I want to do is give it a heading. We're going to say add a new to-do. Okay, and then we're going to use the form_for helper. So form_for at listing. Now here we don't have the at listing instance variable yet. We'll create that very soon. Do f and then end. Okay. So f.label description. Description is the only column we have. And f.text field. We're going to give it type text field description. And then f.submit to do. Okay, so let's see what that looks like. Go to listings, and if we click here, okay, so here we're missing the @listing instance variable. So let's go ahead and create that in the listings controller. New action @listing equals listing.new. Remember to make this caps. Okay, so let's try that again. All right, so we have add a new to do, description, submit to do. All right. So at this point, we have the form and we have the ability to add something, but now we need to deal with the submission of whatever it is that we add, right? So if we say, testing to do and hit submit, it's gonna look for this route over here, which is the create. So that submission of testing to do will be submitted to this create action. So it'll be to listings URL, but it'll be a type post, okay? And it's going to look for a create action over here. Remember, the new listing submission is handled by the create action. Okay, so let's see, submit to do. Okay, action create could not be found in the listings controller. So let's handle that. So for the create action, there's gonna be a couple of things to take care of. First of all, you're gonna need to whitelist the description column, okay, because it's being passed in from the web. So you're gonna need to permit that, which is strong parameters. If you read if you did the blog app, then you know about strong parameters. We basically need to whitelist that. And this is from Rails 4 onwards. Before Rails 4, you didn't need to do this, but this is a security layer so that whatever is attempted to be submitted, we have to whitelist and we have to let the app know, okay, it's okay to mass assign this, okay? So let's handle the create action first. Oops, that's not what I wanted. So for create action, we're gonna follow a format like this, okay? So first we need to create the listing, and we're gonna whitelist this. So we're gonna say listing params, and we want to define that method, okay? So it's gonna be a private method available to this class. So we're gonna say listing params, and then we're going to say params.require, the top level key is listing, dot permit description. Okay, and so that should allow description that's passed in from the web to be mass assigned. All right, the pattern we're going to follow is this. If listing.save, then do something. Else, if unable to save the listing, render new, end. Okay, and this is a common pattern we're going to follow for create. Now the thing is, we don't have any validations right now. Okay, so any listing is going to save. Even if we pass in an empty listing, it's going to save. Okay, but here we want to say something like redirect to listings path. Okay, so this should work. Let's try it out. If we go to listings/new, description, hello, testing, submit to do. Okay, we see here hello testing got added. Okay, now here's the problem. If I go to create new to do, this is empty. If I hit submit to do, see an empty one got created. We don't want that, right? So let's go ahead and add our first validation. So you'll do that in the app, then models in the listing.rb file. Over here, I'm just gonna close some of these. Okay. over here, you want to do something like, oops, I think I got this wrong. Spaces 2. Okay. All right. Validates. So you want to validate that you want to make sure that anytime you submit that a description field is actually submitted, okay? So there are lots of validates methods that you can use, but in this case, we're going to just check that there is a description that's being passed in. So presence of description, okay? So that should work. Let's test it out in our Rails console first. If I go to Rails console, if I do list equals listing.new description, and I'll leave it empty, okay? Now if I do list.save, you see that it didn't save, okay? It said rollback transactions. Now, how do we find out why it didn't save? We can do something like this, list.errors.any, question mark, and you see that it says true, okay? And then list.errors.full-messages, this is a method that Rails provides, and you see that the error says description can be blank, okay? And we're gonna use this construct to build a display of errors, okay? So if the user enters in, an empty submission, then we want this to be displayed. All right. So now if I go over here, let me just make sure I saved this. Okay, it's saved. If I create a new to-do, if I submit to-do, let me see, nothing happened. Okay, just went to description, submit to-do, like nothing happened. Now why is that? It's because if you look at our listings controller, if it's unable to save, okay, if it saves, it goes to the listings path. If it's unable to save, then it goes to the new template, okay? So it renders a new template all over again. So in the new template, we need to display the error message, because right now it doesn't display what the error message is, it just shows up here. So we need to do that. How do we do that? Over here. If you remember from the console, we have the errors, okay? We have the errors associated with the @listing instance variable. So if @listing.errors.any and okay, now in here we're going to say something like this: h2 there was since we only have one validation, it's going to be one error. So there was an error in your submission. Okay, now here we can just say something as simple as, you need a description, right? But in most cases, we'll have multiple validations. Not in this simple app, but in most apps. So we'll follow a standard way of submitting or displaying errors, okay? So we'll iterate through all of the errors. So you want to do something like this: listing.errors.full-messages.each do message, and then end that. And over here, you want to display the error message. So li message. Okay, so here this is not necessary because, we're only going to have one message, which will be description can be blank. But in a lot of cases, you'll have a few errors. Okay, so I just wanted to go through the standard process of displaying errors. All right, so let's see what that did. If I do submit to do, okay, there was an error in your submission and it says description can be blank. Okay, now what is going on here? Why do we have this issue? So let's go ahead and see what's causing that issue in the user interface. In fact, let's clean that up a little bit. I want to add a p tag over here, and then and then I want this to also be in a p tag. All right, let's reload the page. Actually, let's do a new one. So /new. Okay, description, let's say hello testing new. This should work. Submit to do. Okay, this one worked. Now create a new to do, leave it empty, and submit it. Okay, there was an error in your submission. Description can't be blind. Okay, so this is great. Our errors display is working, and our new to do submission is also working. I'll see you in the next lesson.